All right. Well, I guess we did plan it, right? Blue is donate. Is it donate life? Well, green, blue, and green. And I just put this on. But, April is Donate Life Month. And we are here with the wonderful ladies of CODA. Well, actually, Miss Donisha with CODA. But Miss Monica is a heart transplant recipient. Miss Adria Johnson is an advocate for Donate Life. And then Miss Donisha, she's going to be telling us more about her story. So we're so excited to have all of these ladies here. And again, April is Donate Life Month, which means that this month is all about advocating and encouraging people to register to be an organ and tissue donor. Everybody, let's show some love for our very special guests today.
Man.
Well, Miss Adria, first off, good morning. Good to see you again. I saw her at the block party yesterday. She took her grandchildren there, and we had a wonderful time at the block party. But Miss Adria is the president and CEO of the Metro United Way, and she serves as in that capacity for the past 2 years. Miss Adria joined us actually when you actually first was appointed to that position here on the pre-show. But today she is here with another mission, and that is advocating. Adria lost her son, KJ, back in November, and there he is. Kerry Rhodes II, 29 years old, and he was killed in a drunk driving accident. Actually, it was a stolen truck, which careened into his vehicle, killing him and his younger brother, Jaden, and they were just 5 minutes away from home. And a lot of times in life, when things happen to you, what are you going to do with what has happened to you? And it was actually not Adria, but her son, KJ, that made the decision at the age of 18 years old that he would be an organ donor. And I guess we could say the rest was history. Adria, welcome today. Everybody show some love for Miss Adria. Talk about the decision to fulfill your son's decision to be an organ donor, and what has this experience been like for you?
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. It just took me a minute. Last time I was here, we were celebrating his life.
Right. His funeral was here. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. We got you. We got
you. God is good.
Yes, He is.
I just, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I think to be a little bit overwhelmed.
That's okay.
No, it was for me and my family, for me as his mother, honoring what he put in motion at the age of 18 really was an easy decision. Yeah. That wasn't the complicated part. Actually, it felt like a gift, to be honest with you. When we spent those 9 days in the hospital and, saw and, came to grips with his prognosis and what that meant for his earthly existence, to then know that he had the opportunity to help other people was a gift. And so for us, and for me, it was, a moment of extreme pride. Yeah. As I've shared with Monica and Denisha and others, to know my son at the age of 18 and where he was just developmentally, and he was 18, right? So, he was still finding himself. He was still figuring life out, and to know that he had taken steps to do something that had the ability to really impact lives was just an immense moment of pride. And then, we probably don't even have enough time in this segment, but I just can't underscore enough the evidence of God in all of this.
Come on. Hey, we in church, Adrian. We can go there.
Yeah, we are in church.
Yes.
And so I stay in awe of God's love for us, for me, my family, and just, to witness what feels like pain being turned into purpose is amazing. So, it's amazing.
And one of the things I and probably a lot of you witnessed your story as you were very candid about your whole journey, and you documented it on Facebook. And I remember the decision to have someone film you as KJ did his honor walk. Talk about that honor walk, and then how God is so intentional that your sister here who walked you through the process, that connection.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect with the honor walk. And I will just tell you all, it's those 9 days in the hospital, there was an army of people that showed up to love on us and to love on my son. And, to witness that continues to blow me away. But the honor walk is an opportunity for medical staff, hospital staff, friends and family to line the hallways as, KJ is taken down to the OR, where he will transition on and then be prepped to have his organs harvested. So that is it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, but God.
Yeah.
But to see the love, the people that lined those hallways that gave him the ultimate just measure of respect and love and recognition for what he was doing is a memory I will forever cherish. And just, again, one evidence of God in it, and there are many. So Denisha, we graduated from high school together in 1989. Best class of Seneca. Yeah, that was for you. But anyway, you'll hear her story in a minute, and then when you just can understand just the evidence that there is a master plan that God has laid.
Come on.
And nothing is an accident, and it all works together. And so Denisha, and you'll understand the significance in a minute. I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. I was sitting in the waiting room. Other people were back there with KJ, and the rooms are small, and it was a lot of people. And so she motioned for me, and she showed me the paper with his signature where he had made the decision to be an organ donor. And you just talk about life coming full circle, because then this woman also was our strength and rubbed the shoulders when we watched my son transition. And I'll let you understand why that means so much. But I'll never forget that.
Well, and to help you piece the story together, Miss Denisha, she's been active with CODA for, is it the past 13 years? And what is your role with CODA now?
Okay, so now I currently serve as the multicultural community educator for CODA. But back in November, my role was family support liaison. So in that position, it's my job to talk to families bedside if their loved ones are in a position that they could be eligible for organ donation. So with KJ, he was registered. And in our community, we're not normally registered. So I'm having to go in and talk to families and ask if, they would consider organ donation.
So when you seen his name on the paper and you knew that was Adria, were you like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is my old high school classmate?
We say, oh my goodness, but I was like, Jesus, really?
Right.
Because our schedules are made a month in advance. Mm-hmm. So I could not have been working that day.
Wow.
But that day, we're not talking about accidents and coincidences. Adria and our paths were destined to cross. I'm going to go all the way back to 1971.
Okay, go.
Okay. So I told my manager that day, I was like, I know this family. I know I'm supposed to be the one to go to the hospital today. And so from there, I had bumped into her earlier in the week.
Wow.
And that was just that was a coincidence, I think. But then I got there.
Wow. And what makes it so, like, God is so intentional is because you were in that same position 17 years? 13 years yeah. Before. So talk about how you were able to minister to Adria because you had already been down that road with your own daughter. So, talk about that. 13
years ago, my daughter, Tanil, 17 years old, had a brain bleed. She was born with a condition, with a collection of blood vessels that didn't form properly, and we didn't know. So she was normal. She was healthy. She had a headache like anybody else would have a headache, but one day she had a headache that would eventually take her life. And so she wasn't registered. My husband and I, we never thought that We would need to talk to our kids about what their end-of-life wishes would be. We were both registered and never even had the conversation that we were both registered. You know, hadn't even turned 40 yet. So we were in the hospital for 7 days, and so it got to the point where the neurologist came in, and I want to break a myth that the doctors did everything they could, and Adria, I think you could say the same. They did everything they could to save her life.
And the reason you said that, and that's why it's so important, is because there are a lot of myths and a lot of reasons why us as African Americans do not sign up. Because one of the things that is said is that if you're in an accident, if you're an organ donor, they'll let you go so they can use your organs, but that's not true. And you said both of you all can attest that they did everything they could try to do to save your children's lives.
That's exactly right. And actually, to take that a step further, to be an organ donor, you have to be in the best care. So they're going to try to save your life. No doctor wants somebody's death really on their name. So after they told us that, I just had this thought. I felt like it was a 5-minute conversation. I had the thought, oh, Lord, please don't take my child. And then immediately all I could hear was, she's not your child. Ooh. And so I'm looking around, I'm like, And I looked at my husband, and he just looked at me, and I'm like, you didn't hear that? Wow. And so then immediately after that, I said, well, then I want her to be an organ donor. I don't want somebody else to be sitting in these shoes.
Wow.
And so Tennille was able to donate 8 organs, 7 organs. One organ donor can save up to 8 people. Tennille was able to donate 7 organs, restore sight to 2 people, and then through tissue donation, you can help up to more than 50 people.
Wow. Wow. Yes, that is woo. And so let's fast forward back to that moment when you had to minister to Adria, who was in the same space you were 13 years ago. What do you say? How did you encourage her?
I don't think I really had to say a whole lot because similar to Adria, I had put what my family had gone through with organ donation. She's been able to follow my story, I think, through Facebook. And I felt like I needed to do that because at the time I worked in pharmaceutical drug research, and we don't sign up for clinical trials either. And, you know, we need to know how medicines affect us. Do they work for us? You know, high blood pressure, diabetes, the same conditions. Those same conditions get us put on the list for transplants, needing kidneys, needing a pancreas. And so I wanted to just be vocal and share, you know, that this is important to me, it's important to our community. So Adria was able to follow that. When I talked to families, I would sometimes share that I was, you know, had lost a child. My daughter was an organ donor. But I think for Adria, she just knew that I knew. It was more of a heart thing.
And what a wonderful segue, speaking of a heart thing. And if God couldn't be any more intentional in this situation, you worked with KJ at Cities United, and he's told you firsthand of his decision to be an organ donor way before he passed and like when you was in the midst of your situation. So, Ms. Monica, tell us your story.
So, 2016, I was training for the mini marathon right about the same time of the year, the Derby Festival marathon, and had left the gym, was in my car, and what I thought at the time were muscle spasms were me having a heart attack. And so I pulled over on the side of the road, realizing that I needed to get me a baby aspirin because the muscle spasms weren't passing. My cousin was with me. I got out of my car, tried to walk into a corner store to see if they had baby aspirin, and I hit the ground. And so I told my cousin, call 911. And so they picked me up in the parking lot of that corner store. Fast forward, 3 days later, I'm in the hospital waiting for my discharge paperwork. And I had a second heart attack and crashed. And so they had to bring me back to life. And then 6 months later, I'm in Lexington, and I'm having a heart transplant. I'm waiting for a heart. The day they came in, July the 27th of 2016, they said, "We have a heart for you," and they said it's a perfect match. And so yeah.
Talk about, though, you said something so poignant. I had an opportunity to speak with them earlier, but before they told you you had a match, they were telling you it was going to be the holidays, and they said this is usually the time when people pass, and you said you couldn't believe you were doing what?
So here in Louisville, I was in and out of the hospital after that. To Adria's point about the medications and how they affect people of color, women, the medications that they gave me to treat heart failure actually caused me to get worse. And so I'm in ICU, very clear in my head. But what the doctor said, so we went through Derby, we went through Memorial, we went through 4th of July, and they said holidays are typical for deaths. And so the realization that I was waiting for someone to die, that I might live, and I still hold that. Reason why I'm sitting here, because like these two beautiful, powerful women, I must share my story. And for them to be able to say that it was a perfect match means that it was a female, black female,
Come on.
similar body size, blood type, tissue. And so all of that was in 2016. Now I'm working with this young man who is just amazing. His heart for community was mind-blowing for me as a mom of two young black men. And I'm seeing this young man, I'm working with him, who's younger than my sons. And when I shared my story, he immediately told me that he was registered. He pulled out his driver's license so I could see the heart, you know, that's on your driver's license, the logo, the Donate Life logo. And so, yeah, he was just powerful.
And you're talking about Adria's son, KJ, and we all up here crying. But the big part about that is that you talked about his heart, and Adria talks about him being her sunshine. And because of that selfless decision he made at the age of 18, 3 lives were saved because of KJ's donation. And talk about what the lives that were impacted because of his donation.
So right now, we know that there is a young man the age of 37 that has his heart. There are 2 women, 2 single moms that have his kidneys. As you heard Denisha say, his tissues, other things have gone on that will bless, you know, many more through research or the ability to, you know, strengthen, you know, some of the medical, you know, technologies and innovations that are happening as a result of his selflessness. And so, yeah, he is amazing.
So, and like Crystal said, we all crying. It's his full circle. But what I hear and what we want you all to hear is you can save someone's life. And it's not about someone trying to take yours because you donated. But we are all children of God, correct? We know we're going to heaven. We're saved. But if somebody's life can be saved, we have to pass away anyway. Yeah. So why not make that awesome decision to save someone else's life through that? So with that being said, how does someone register to be to be a donor?
Okay, so there's multiple ways. Of course, now it's the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. When you go and get your driver's license or an ID made, of course, you can say yes there, or you can go to registerme.org. And just to echo on that, we're talking about, we just come off of Resurrection Sunday. Yeah. Jesus gave his whole life.
Whole life.
Come on. He gave his whole life. While he was living. We're asking you to do this afterwards. So, I don't get to speak from my perspective as a believer, when I'm out in the community all the time, but I'm in church today.
All right.
So
speak on it.
I'm just going to say it. We don't donate blood. Jesus was the first blood donor. Come on, y'all.
Come on.
If this is what we say we believe, then we need to walk it like we talk.
Absolutely.
So registerme.org to get back on task. And if you have an iPhone, you can do it through your app, through the app as well.
Wow. Talk about some of the members that we know or that at St. Stephen that need an organ donation.
Well, I know it was a couple. Miss Rosie Robertson needs a kidney, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing with this is, I have a choir member, Lisa Johnson, who received a kidney, and Lisa's doing wonderful. Her life is saved because of somebody else, and now Rosie needs a kidney. Just the fact that you know this situation, you heard these stories today, do something different. Okay? Do something different. Help somebody else. It's all good. It's what Jesus did. He was the prime example. He gave his life so we can have a right to the tree of life.
Amen.
Now, when we pass away, do something different.
Amen.
Do something different.
Adria, I want to give you the last word before we get out of here. We're getting ready for worship, but you talk about God being in all things, and here's a mother who lost her son, her only son, 29 years old, and she can still give God glory. So leave us with some words before we go.
Yeah. Well, I just, everything that you all have heard, and just know that when you really have that relationship with God and you know that God is with you, the strength and the peace, it's there. People have asked me, how can you be so strong? Because I know that God is in control. And I'll just leave you all with this. When we talked last with Crystal, Monica shared something with us that in KJ's office, she shared that on his whiteboard, and I had been to KJ's office to get his stuff, clean it out, but he had written, "Joy comes in the morning," and that's still up there. And joy does come in the morning.
Come on.
It absolutely comes in the morning. And so I just ask you all to trust and believe, and I said when this happened, my heart is shattered, but my faith is not.
Come on.
Because my heart is broken. You don't lose your son and not feel heartbroken, but my faith is not. And my faith is what carries me through. So God bless you for having us, and God bless you for listening.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to worship. Be blessed.